Well, talking about greats, if you just take this mic, please. All right. Could you bring him in the middle?
Jump in the middle.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's feeling you out there.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're just talking about Oleksandr Usyk there, talking about greats, and I'm not just saying this, I've said this to you before, Roy, I'm not saying this as bias, just as a personal thing, I think we are being joined now by the greatest fighter of all time, certainly in your pomp, in your prime.
Thank you, my brother.
I've just got to put that out there. You can't forget.
Thank you. They must have forgot.
Exactly. Roy, before we come back on, we were just talking about the weekend, before we come back onto what we saw on the weekend, look, you've got your boy, Tony Curtis Lighting Jr. I've heard so much about him. I've seen a few of his fights in Dubai. Obviously turned pro so young out there. You signed with Queensberry and Frank Warren. Firstly, why that move? Why was Frank the right man, Roy?
Because he went to Frank when he was about 11 years old and told Frank that he'd get his checkbook ready because he's coming, you know. Frank told him to go get his stuff together. He went and got his stuff together, so Frank kept his word, and Tony kind of manifested that. And I think Frank is the best fit for him because Frank understands the struggle. Frank understands where he come from and where he's trying to go. Frank knows the family. Frank knows the brothers. Frank knows everything going on about him. So when you find a man like Frank who is a man of his word and who cares enough to know about the evolution of this kid, how can you ask for anybody else, you know?
And how is it training this young man?
So fun, man. So fun because you always teach them new things. It's like my mind, people don't understand. My mind is like an encyclopedia when it comes to boxing. And these kids, it's funny because he always laughs at me because I always got something new to teach him. You know what I mean? And having a person that can learn these things and can put them to use is a beautiful thing for me because it's hard to find fighters who can actually absorb what I teach them and put it to use. This kid can do that.
Imagine having Roy Jones Jr. in a corner as your trainer, walking out. That's a frightening sight for the opposition. You already 1-0 up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Roy, how far can he go? Look, he's at the start of his career.
Yeah.
I'm sure Frank's going to build him slowly. Frank's known for, you know, if he really likes you and he's fond of you and he sees the talent, he'll guide you the right way.
Right.
How far, though, can he go one day?
Well, he'll guide me the right way, but you got to remember, with me being here, being who I am, I don't want you to take him too slow because I need to put a sense of responsibility on his back. You understand me? So the quicker we can get him to some type of strap to make him feel responsible and let him know that now everybody pointing their fingers at you, we need to do that because he's the kind of kid that if he doesn't feel threatened, he'll chill. You feel me? I don't want that. I want him to stay feeling threatened.
No comfort.
No, I don't want him to be comfortable. I mean, comfortable outside the ring of life, yeah, but in that ring, I want him to always feel threatened because he's a much better fighter when he feels threatened.
If he dresses like he fights, we're in for a treat.
Oh yeah, without a question.
He's got the swagger and the confidence. He's going to be an easy sell, isn't he?
Gonna be a very easy sell because he got everything. He got the swagger, he got the confidence. He got two or three brothers coming up behind him that's constantly pushing him too. So, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. That family is a beautiful family to be a part of, and their father would give his life for his kids, and that's why I train him. That's why he got me involved with him, and I think it's a pile of 4 people I'm gonna have that's gonna become world champions. But I think Tony's gonna become a multi-divisional champion too, just a matter of time.
Just on a general note, look, I've got a very talented fighter with me here. The Fail twins are very talented. There's a lot of very talented fighters here. Just as a general observation, you can say it to Ben personally here. If you had to give one rule of advice, one huge guideline to a fighter who's coming through the ranks, he's going to be on the cusp of a British title soon, hopefully. Yep. Maybe pushing on to European and then Worlds one day. What is that piece of advice, Roy?
Savor the moments. Always remember every moment. But also remember that boxing is not about who's the toughest, it's who's the smartest. Because at the end of the day, I'm 56 years old, but I'm still able to talk, thank God, and you can still understand what I'm saying. I can still deliver my message to you. And I fought since I was 10 years old. You understand me?
Yeah.
But not being hit a lot allows me to be able to sit here and communicate with both of you right now. You understand?
Of course.
So take boxing for what it's worth. Be smart about it, but don't let nobody make you do crazy things. Sparring when it's not necessary is not good because every little lick to that brain takes its toll. You feel me?
Of course.
Would you have a question for Roy as a fighter coming through?
I'll have about 1,000.
Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, just like you being a coach to some up and coming fighters, the experience. What would be the in the gym the most experienced thing you could teach them?
The most experienced thing?
If it's not pads, bags, sparring, what would
the
be
most experienced thing really is footwork. Footwork is a lost art in boxing right now. You understand me? Footwork determines a lot of different things.
Yeah.
If you can get your guy in trouble physically with your feet, you got it.
Yeah.
But if you can't move those feet, I always tell my guys, you got to remember, you got to treat yourself like a tank. A tank drives and it pivots. But the wheels don't pivot that much. It kind of drives, then the top pivots. But if you can make these keep you in line, take you where you got to go, and this up part can be your pivot, now you got something. You like a tank. That's why I was so dangerous. Explosive.
Yeah.
Roy, it wouldn't be right with me to, before we let you go, and I appreciate your time, about the weekend. And I've got an interesting question for you, actually. When you boxed John Ruiz, if that was Oleksandr Usyk in the opposite corner that night, how would have a Roy Jones v Oleksandr Usyk fight heavyweight gone?
So Oleksandr Usyk is a southpaw, which would be much more difficult to deal with. But what you got to remember is there are certain things you got to take away from Oleksandr Usyk right away. If you don't take those things away from him, you're not going to beat him. So it's like, he's not an easy sell for anybody to beat, period. But for me, it wouldn't have been easy, but I'm faster than him. So I would use my speed to my advantage to make sure I took advantage of it and didn't let him hit me. Because now I think he took the advice I put out there about him one time, and he's become a little bit more explosive as a puncher. You understand me?
Yep.
So now he's taking these guys out with one shot. That's the only thing he was lacking as a cruiserweight. Now he becomes a real legitimate heavyweight problem because he is explosive. So he's faster than most of these guys. He has a very, very high IQ, and now he's even punching with explosive power. He's a very hard sell right now. But me, I would have been smarter. I was faster. I wouldn't given him nothing in the early rounds. But late, I would have started pushing the pressure. I would have made him back up and not let him back me up. And it would have probably been a different outcome, but he's also a Capricorn, so he's smart just like I am.
What a fight that would have been. The WBO have called him to fight Joseph Parker. We don't know if that's going to be next. Usyk might vacate and go elsewhere with a Fury trilogy, etc. If it is Joseph Parker, what problems and questions can he pose that others haven't, or can he not?
It's funny you say that, because a guy just asked me not long ago who I think would be best or had the best opportunity to give Usyk a fight. The best guy right now is Joseph Parker. Why? Because he's not a big heavyweight. He's quick. He throws combinations. He has a great trainer with him now in Andy Lee, and he's more comfortable than I've ever seen him in his whole career. And so I think that is actually a very good fight for both fighters, and this is the very best time for it because Joseph Parker is on the uprise right now.